Welcome to Soul Elevation, guiding your ascension to new heights. I'm your host, Kara Goodwin, and you're going to love this episode with Rachel Corpus. She talks about her experience of being an angel and how she's seen the truth of this through 4 near-death experiences. And throughout this talk, she channels a lot of information directly from archangels such as Gabriel and Michael. We talk about the 144,000 souls, how to know if you're part of that transformative group, what's in store for humanity's evolution in the coming years, her Galactic Council work, and much, much more. Rachel Corpus is an angel in human form, here to teach and embody what it means to live in deep connection with Source. Born with heightened spiritual perception, she saw angels above her crib and played with ghost children, sensing what others could not. And after a profound near-death experience early in life, Rachel chose to return with a mission, to be a healer and teacher. Her gifts only grew stronger, and through devotion, meditation, and faith, she became a powerful channel and spiritual guide. Today, Rachel works fluidly across realms, collaborating with angels, ascended masters, loved ones in spirit, and high vibrational ETs. Her greatest joy is helping others remember their divinity and awaken to their highest potential. Before we dive into this episode, I invite you to explore all the amazing resources waiting for you at karagoodwin.com. From my book, Your Authentic Awakening, to powerful free meditations, a Learn to Meditate course, and even personalized guided meditations, there's something there to support you no matter where you are on your spiritual path. You can also sign up for my upcoming summits and workshops to connect more deeply with like-minded souls and expand your consciousness. These offerings are designed to nurture your evolution, and your support helps me continue to share this work, covering the many costs behind producing and delivering this content to you. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Your support makes a big difference. And now, enjoy this episode. Well, Rachel, I am so excited to have you here. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. Thanks for coming on Soul Elevation.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to spend this time with you and your lovely audience.
Well, I was super excited to find out before we started recording that you're friends with Suzanne Spooner.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
Yeah, she's from my neck of the woods, Des Moines, Iowa.
Yes, and the only time I've been to Des Moines is when I had my QHHT session with Suzanne. So that's super fun to know that we have that common connection. Suzanne's been on the show too. It's been a while, but
I love
she's just amazing. So you know yourself to be an angel in human form, and I can't wait to learn about this. Did this information come through the near-death experience that you had, or have you always known this? Tell us your experience.
Thank you for asking. First, I would like to say that if I were to take away my near-death experiences, because I've had 4 total in my life.
Wow.
But if I were to take those out and just ask myself, am I an angel? I would know, yes, I am. And I want to say that first because I know that as people, we know who we are. And we're also really good at talking ourselves out of our truth. So I always knew, even at a very tiny, tiny age, that I was different. I knew it. I knew I was here for a great purpose. Could I put the angel title to it? No, because titles aren't important. They just aren't. We really don't need labels. If they help us, that's great. But in my angel mission, and I'll get to the answer to your question, I promise. But my angel mission actually is to help people remember that we are all equal, we're all connected, and we're all part of the same oneness. And that oneness is love. A love that we quite possibly have forgotten, but we're starting to remember. And it's a love that's just so easy. We recognize it. We recognize it in each other. So going back to your question, when I was running around as a toddler, even before that as an infant, I remember seeing angels, which I define as non-humans, above my crib. And I could also, let's go a little bit older than that. My family lived next to a cemetery. We lived in an old house. And I played with ghost children. I played with old grandmas that weren't my grandmas. I played with people who were in the spirit world. And sometimes I knew it because I could see through them. And sometimes they looked as firm as you and me. I knew what animals were thinking. I knew that, but I didn't really know it was different than anybody else's experience. But when I was 4 years old, my family was in an intense car accident. And that's when I had my first near-death experience. When that happened, I met myself. I had an out-of-body experience, a near-death experience where there was another voice going on. And it was this old lady voice that was me. And I had this 4-year-old self, because I was 4 at the time. And there's this other voice going on, and I was questioning, who is this? It was me. It was my consciousness. And there were other angels there. And they said, Rachel, this is what's going on. Your family's been in this car accident. While we have you here, they're working on your body. Your head has been hurt. And I had some cracks in my skull, and my brain was injured at that time. And the doctors were doing their best to repair it, keep me alive. So while I was in heaven, I was talking to other angels, and they said, you're from the seraphim realm. And they gave me a tour. They showed me where I work, where I live, what it looks like to be a seraphim, which is the angel that's either one big eye, or some seraphim have wheels of eyes. We can also incarnate to look like this, because that's much easier on the eyes. We're not scary. Or we can look like we have gowns, halos. Honestly, we can look like anything we need to look like in the moment. We can look like a sparkle. My 4-year-old consciousness was with me as well, because I remember asking, well, if I do stay here, because they gave me an option, you can stay or you can go to Earth again. If I stay, will it still be playful here? Can I climb trees? Yes, we play here. And they said, here's your mission, which I spoke about earlier. We want everyone to remember. Everyone is supposed to remember, especially at the time that you're going to be alive, as your name, Rachel, that people will awaken to remember that they're here to push. There will be 144,000 people that will remember that they have God inside, that they don't need a secondary person or a special, like the books will be tools, but they will not need a special book like a Bible to get them there. The tools will be sacred, but they won't be everything anymore. They won't need the bells and whistles. They will go within themselves. They'll go back inside. And that's why you took this mission in the first place. So you can either finish it here or go back home. And then I didn't make the choice to go back home. My 4-year-old self came back in, and I remembered my mom and how sad she would be if I didn't go back. And then I was back in my little body. So that's my first remembering of my big meeting, going back home to heaven and being shown around and told, here's your badge. This is your angel name, which is Genevieve. That's my angel name as a seraphim. Rachel is my chosen name, which means lamb. My maiden name is Walker. So as the lamb, I walk the earth. My married name is Corpus. Interesting, which means body. I'm still in the body. But I'm here as an angel. And I've gone back 3 more times, and I've had meetings major meetings, but I'm also a member of the Galactic Council. So that means that in my meditations, in my sleep, I'm always zipping back and meeting with different angels, guides, sometimes extraterrestrials, I'm very comfortable saying. And we get updates on what's going on in the world. And these things don't surprise me because I've seen them my whole life. And they'll just say, well, the timeline is adjusted. Or this is what we need to happen in Syria. This is what we need to happen in Canada. We need more prayer here. Could you send some energy this way? Energy update. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. My goodness, which direction do we go?
Sip.
Yes, you take a sip. Let me navigate this because there are so many different ways I want to take it. But um, fascinating that you're talking about the updates on the planet and the timeline adjustments. And, as we're recording this now, this will be released, probably like late summer or fall of 2025.
Mhm.
So for people who are listening in the future, hello from your past. Hello to us who might be listening in the future but are here present now on May 28th of 2025. So I think that, for me personally, this year, it feels poignant. There's so much going on. I was just having coffee with a friend before we started recording this, and it's like, I don't even know what to believe. I'm kind of anti-establishment by nature. And then I'm like, am I giving too much authority to the reels that I see that align with my distrust of the establishment? Like in this day and age with the prevalence of AI and so forth, it's like I could be being manipulated too. And so there's like, what narrative do I trust? And how do we, I know we like keep coming back to the self and keep coming back to what is our intuition? What is even our body trying to signal to us? But you have this unique perspective because you have the memories of the, Galactic Council, these different meetings that you're having. So what insights can you give us maybe about the year or I don't know how much insight you have about potential timelines in the years that we're approaching too, but what does that bring up for you?
Mm. Well, I I can't say everything because I can't usurp free will.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say anything that would butterfly effect or reroute the timeline. So I do have a couple of limitations, but I can say what I'm allowed to say. Um, I'm just scanning, I'm actually scanning holographic board minutes from
Mm.
from the meetings, and that's not as boring as it sounds. I promise.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It's kind of like moving disco balls in your hands and then waiting for my angels to say, "Oh, that would be interesting. That would be interesting." So I kind of have to wait for it and just palpitate it in my energy field. So that's what I'm doing. Well, here's something that was discussed in the last meeting. There there is no there really is no way at this point that the timeline toward Rachel speaking, Archangel Gabriel, can you help with the words and come into my right side in my aura? Right, thank you. Um, the timeline that won't shift this time is the timeline toward awakening. That can't be broken. It's been broken before. There are times that the awakening was supposed to happen and it rerouted. Holocaust supposed to happen at that time, rerouted. The awakening started for us in 2012. That's when it started to really open up. So we're seeing I don't know what to call it. Let's just say the beginning of the blossom. Okay? And nothing is going to reroute that. So where people are imagining or feeling, they're not imagining it. They're not imagining their feelings, but they are imagining all these storylines coming in through their feeds about this is destructing, this is destructing. What's actually going on is people that are incarnating right now or that are here right now. So both the babies that are incarnating and the people that are here right now that are awake. They have so many personal timelines that are active right now. They have their own personal multiverse. So you and I talking right now, there are so many versions of us, not just past lives or other lifetimes where our other incarnations where, it's our same consciousness, but we're in the Wild West or we're in the 1920s or Versailles. Not just that, but also Kara, who you look like you, but we're in a different frequency and you're not spiritual. That's a life. Or I tune another frequency and you look just like you, but you're running a ranch. You have maybe 20 of those parallels and you don't run into her because they're all in the multiverse. We have so much of that going on, but see, people are under the assumption that all these timelines are happening and just going willy-nilly. Well, they're actually coming back into one consciousness. Like a bunch of Twizzlers you get at the movie that are all squished together. We're starting to pull in all of our wisdom again into one big fat timeline. And because we're doing that, the oneness that the angels talked about in the very beginning is starting to resonate like one fat, beautiful timeline. That's the part that can't be stopped. What we're noticing is that the structures that don't fit that, like some governments, some school structures, even money, those that don't resonate with the highest love are naturally going to break apart. And what we're witnessing is people struggling with change. Transition's hard. And we're going to see it because we talk out loud to each other. We have social media. We break down in front of each other. It's our new therapy. We're going to see it, and we're supposed to see it. We're not doing this in the shadows anymore. We're supposed to see it. We are each other's witness. And that's the sacred part of this breakdown. We're not going to find it hidden in the vaults in somebody's diary. We're going to all remember it this time. We're supposed to see the breakdown. That's the sacred part of this. Wow. What it looks like is right now we're seeing it and we're saying, oh, you dumbass, look what you did. That appears to be what's happening, but actually it's not. It's like, oh, I see that breaking down. Oh gosh, I'm going to remember that. That worked for so long. It's not anymore. I wonder what's going to grow in its place. And we're seeing people as heroes and villains, but everybody's equal. Everybody's equal. And when I ask the angels to show me a glimpse into the future, I see people on this dimension still, on the earth dimension, but as they're here, their own personal frequencies are on, like, one person's in the 5th dimension. This person's still in the 3rd dimension, and it doesn't feel like a punishment at all. But this person who is in the 3rd dimension, this person is still, this makes my body really react when I'm in the 3rd dimension. So you guys hearing this recording, you're going to really hear it. It's not a ghost in the room. It's my stomach. This person in the 3rd dimension, this person made a sacred choice before birth, honestly, to just get up, eat, sleep, work, poop, go to sleep, get up, do it again. These are our placeholders. When they pass, they will grow on the other side, incarnate, and be our growers. But where Dolores Cannon probably called these the background people, these are not like video games, like
NPCs.
no, they have souls, they're growing, but for now, they're like the foundational pieces for us. So those who are awake can grow. We'll always see people like this who are sacred and keeping us like the foundation for us to grow. There are 3Ders. Then it allows many of us to move through the 4D into the 5D. And so I see a lot of people like in the next 6 months, year, 2, 3 years, moving into the 4D, 5D, even up to the 12th dimensional timeline, moving into their crystalline body. So it doesn't look like a event. It looks like an event for this person here, this person here, this person here. And their events look like they belong to them in their timelines. And could there be a 3 days of darkness? Sure. I see some solar flare stuff coming up, but it doesn't look like it's The Purge or some big Hollywood movie. No, it looks like it's sacred for each person. And according to their vibrational frequency or their timeline, it's going to look different for every person. And for some people, it's not going to happen at all because what they've chosen is to be on the 3-dimensional timeline to hold space, sacred space for those who are awake, because it's what we chose, to wake up. We are this generation of waking up. We will wake up, and then the next generation will wake up. We're doing this in generations or classes, but it's not a reward or punishment. So really what we're seeing right now is not a breaking down of structures, but like the government, for example, in the United States, but a shifting. And of course it's going to be messy because we're messy. We're humans. We're messy. Give us a barbecue sandwich. Put us in a room in front of Netflix. It's going to be all over our faces. Right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird analogy. Cheers.
But you're right. Yes. Well, thank you for sharing that. Again, there's so much there. One thing that was striking to me is you mentioned Versailles at the very beginning. That is in France, right?
Yes.
So as I was falling asleep last night, I was hearing French.
Yeah.
And I don't really speak French. So I was just hearing this, not even a dialogue, like a monologue in French.
Mm.
And I was like, I don't know. It's beautiful. I don't know what you're saying. And now here, of all places, you're bringing up Versailles, which is a kind of not Paris, not Montreal, but Versailles.
Which it comes up a lot. Versailles seems to be layered a lot recently in what the world is going through. And when I ask the angels about that, there's a lot of guides from Versailles coming through because Versailles went through a lot of challenges about awakening, renaissance, treating people with equality or not, just basic living.
So this is back in the Renaissance?
Yeah, it looks like the angels are saying there's touch points in Versailles, 1720, then they go to 1745. They go to different places, different times in Versailles. And they're saying that the time in Versailles really mapped out what we're going through now, this juxtaposition between luxury and putting an appearance of luxury, but really behind it, suffering. And how the luxury really is in actual love. And we can take away the crust of the gold, and it doesn't have to be a crust. We can really feel that true wealth from knowing ourselves, and that the true meaning of Versailles was supposed to be love, but it didn't turn out that well. It's almost like the breakdown of Atlantis. It happened the same way. The frequency changed. It went from love to whoops, party time, Versailles. Even though the
Interesting.
structure of Versailles is still there, when the vibration changed, everything changed.
So that was another time point where we were headed toward the awakening, but it took a side route.
Yeah, like the timeline changed is what they're
Right.
saying. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. That's so fascinating. I'd love to get back to the 144,000 because this comes up quite a bit, but I don't know that I've ever really explored it on this podcast. So
Mhm.
is this like the tipping point in terms of if there are enough people who shift their frequency to a certain level or beyond, then it tips the collective consciousness so that the vibration of the collective consciousness raises enough that there's a mass awakening?
Hmm. Let me ask. I don't think so. What I'm getting is that every time there has been the 144,000, that is a group of people. It's a collective of souls, not people. It's a collective of beings. And every time there has been an awakening, it's the same collective of beings. It's like, we're back. And everybody listening to this show, you're in that group.
Hmm.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be tuned in. And so where it gets messy is there's a reference to the 144,000 in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been stretched. This, one of the angels, I want to just tune into what angel this is. This is Michael. Archangel Michael is saying, where this gets hairy is that the religious leaders stretched this idea and enticed people and said, if you want to come along, work on being worthy and you can be part of the group. But in truth, there were 144,000 who raised their hand in the beginning and said, we will take this on. And it's not a battle. It's a raise your hand. It's a volunteer. And so it's been this same group of people every time this opportunity has come up. And it's been mismarketed as, if we get enough, like you go to see Peter Pan. If everybody claps, Tinkerbell will come out. And it's not. It's the same group of souls. And they happen to incarnate every time this comes up. It's the mission. And this is exactly why the timeline for this won't be stopped, because it's math. It's simply math.
And so it's to do with just those souls being here, and that's it?
That's it. Because the souls that are here, 144,000, the job is they incarnate, they wake up. So when we hear the word awakening, the great awakening, that's what it is for the 144,000. But see, amplified with the 144,000 is everybody else who's waking up with them, to share with them the podcasts, the books, the safe container for them to wake up. It's all the Reiki practitioners, it's all the shamans, it's everybody else, because the 144,000, they're also enveloped in free will. They're also the ones that could be wrapped up in religion. They could be in a prison system. They don't necessarily come in spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own soul map, but they
Right.
are here to awaken just like everybody else. But they are the ones that raise their hand in the very beginning. I will be here when the awakening is set to happen.
So I guess the way that I see that and I translate that is to do with frequency because the waking up is you embody a new frequency or a higher frequency. You're still you, but you are kind of the veils are coming off and the density is falling away. So
Yes.
the frequency is rising.
Yes.
and we're contributing to the collective consciousness. Not only are we informed by the collective consciousness, but we are informing it. And the higher the frequency, the more the collective is getting fed that frequency, the more accessible that frequency becomes. And as we, like, points of light growing brighter, as an example of a visual of what frequency, an elevating frequency, that brightening. And then, here's person 247, and oh, they awaken, so they're glowing brighter, they have a higher frequency. Now we've got 792. Look, they're now embodying this higher frequency, and they've got that connection, even if they don't know each other, but they're part of this group. And the collective is then getting this higher frequency because the people in the collective are awakening and raising their frequency. I don't know, that's how I kind of see it
Yes,
from a
but yes, that's correct in every way. There is another step.
Mhm.
You are all those people. You in the very beginning, you what the angels are here to help people remember is you are 247. You are soul 271. You are 771. You are all of these. You are the tree. You are the blade of grass. And when you petition to incarnate and you go through that process, you are aware that you are not separate from any other being. That's just the way. So I'm not named Rachel. You're not named Kara. We are all God. We are all spirit. And we call it consciousness on the other side. We don't even have different looking spirits on the other side. We're all part of a color spectrum. We don't start having different looks to us until somebody says, let's go to a council meeting. Then we start to shape into something else because we talk about our regions. Then we start to get into maybe Earth mode or Pleiadian mode. But in truth, we literally are part of God, the oneness. So when we talk about this Earth stuff, when you get up and you eat breakfast, the nourishment your cells receive, my cells receive, whether I know it or not. When you speak to your therapist in that privacy, that healing, my soul receives because we literally are one. We did not divide like we think we did. And one of the goals of every lifetime is to play in that separateness. We're just playing. We're playing dress up. And that as soon as you leave your body, that first moment of the death process, you'll remember, oh, yeah, I'm going back into that sweetness of connection. Because I can only tell you this is true because of my near-death experiences. That sweetness of leaving the body and going back into everybody else, oh my gosh, there's no words for it. So I would say that's the only thing that I've noticed we don't get here. The humans don't get, because it's just the way. There's nothing wrong with the separateness that we do here. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just our way. But part of the awakening that we don't understand yet, and we will, I think, is our connection that it'll be heaven on earth.
I love that.
I can't wait. I think animals get it. I know trees get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to see how that plays out here. I can't wait.
Well, and I love the balance that you're bringing to that, because I think that we can have peak experiences, whether somebody has done ayahuasca. I've never experienced ayahuasca, but just as an example, or mushrooms or whatever it might be, where you do have this shift in consciousness, and that is clear as day. It
Yes.
is like, oh my God, we're all one. We are all one. We're all connected, but it's even deeper than that. And there is this opportunity that we have as souls here, which I think is part of what the appeal is as a soul. Like, why come to Earth?
Yeah.
And that is part of it. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to forget this really fundamental part. And then I've got this whole opportunity to remember. And in the remembering, there is this joy that only through the separation can I experience. Because if I'm always a part of it and I'm always in it, then I don't know the joy that can happen from feeling separate from it and then being like, oh my God, that was never even true. I've always been part of it. You know what I mean? So I
Yes,
love how you
I do.
bring both of those together and it's all true, you know? It's so
Yes.
beautiful, really.
Yes.
So as this has been fascinating to like kind of watch you, you know, dance between letting me interview you and then also receiving the information from the angelic team. Can you describe to us what's it like to move through this world with that open connection? Like just as you go through your day or when you're working with people or however you want to take it, but it's a really unusual way to live your life as a human right now.
It is. And I don't always realize that because let me explain my life to you. It's delightful. I'm aware that I live in a bubble that I've created, and I'm aware of that, but I did it because I knew that source was asking me to do this full time, and I raised my hand as an angel and I said, "Yes, I will do this." And I was pushing back for many years and trying to do this work as well as maybe do it in the church system or be a public school teacher and it wasn't working for me. And some people can do that, but it wasn't working for me. So I did have this moment where I said to God, listen, if we're going to do this, prove it. I had one of those moments. And then everything just went clink and shifted. So from that moment, Source and I have designed this existence for me where this is all I do. And I vibrationally have surrounded myself with people who are only supportive. And part of that's on me. I don't read comments. Why? There's no reason. It's people who are in their own belief system, and that's for them, not me. And I get to see clients who are on their journey every day. I fill my body and my mind with things that I want to see. Well, sometimes I did a group session a few weeks ago, and everyone at the table, they were not they were new to the spiritual world, and it was adorable because every time I would use a phrase that I was really used to, like across the veil, or going to speak to spirit, they would giggle. And I realized that what I do is normal to me, but there's a whole world out there that's just waking up. And I'm really grateful for my life because I've crafted it with God. And I'm really grateful for platforms that allow me to share what I know in a way where I can use my teacher self and explain it in a way that I believe is easy and palatable. And also, this isn't a life where I'm going to be persecuted for it. Nobody's getting burned at the stake. I'm grateful for that. And what I'd like to say to people listening is there is a payoff for trusting that when you are authentic, it's going to be okay. Because when I look back, it was my fear that people were going to judge me that held me back. But when I actually say to people, I'm a channeler, I'm an angel, people's response is never, you're crazy. People's response is, whoa, really? Tell me more. And I also can pay attention and read the room, and I don't have to say that if I don't want. And like I said in the very beginning, labels aren't important. I can just say, How are you? What a beautiful day. I don't have to introduce myself as anything. I'm just a child of the world, just a child of the universe. So that's where I am with that.
I love that. That's so well said. I think a lot of people who are listening toe that line as well. And this comes up a lot in my world too, where people are like, so, you get to have these types of conversations. Is your world just like that? Like you're just having
Mhm.
these types of discussions all day? And
Yes.
for me, it's like, yes and no, because I'm also in my community, like I do have parts of my community where I can really let my hair down and I can speak in a language that's very native to me, not French. But, I can say things like on the other side of the veil and they'll know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. And I've had experiences where I've misread the room and, taken a leap and then fallen, where I'm like, oh, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And now I look crazy. I get it. And it's a dance and it's an understanding of where everybody is and just trying to hold that neutrality and not always needing to see that reflection across the spectrum of our life
Right.
depending on what kind of role we're in. We may be in a role where that's really, really necessary. But I feel like, especially when people are just starting to wake up, they might put a lot of pressure on themselves to be like, okay, now I need everybody on board with all of this new information that makes so much sense to me. And all these other people are, we might label them as asleep, and it's like, well, I can't be around asleep people, and it's just kind of like, there's been a lot in the whole time we've been talking, a lot of just holding that neutrality and being authentic is so those two pieces I think are so key. And that's what I'm hearing throughout this discussion with you is this like, yeah, construct your world in a way that's going to make you the happiest
Hmm.
and let people be where they are. They're also
Yes.
holding a sacred part of this whole puzzle and kind of let go of the need to for other people to be who they aren't.
Right. Right. Everybody's on their own timeline.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you have tips for people on how they can start to bridge this space, into the quantum, let's say? Do you have tips for how people can start to connect beyond the veil?
Yes. My favorite way is to create kind of this. It feels like virtual reality, except it is reality. But to go into the quantum, one can put a sleep mask over their eyes, and something in the ears is nice, like white noise or brown noise, or maybe some meditation music without words, something that works for you. But the idea here is to watch the back of your eyelids like it's a room that's lost power. Because anytime you blink, anytime you're looking at the back of your eyelids, you actually are looking into the quantum realm. We have access to this because you're going into the part of you that's spirit. You're exiting your body. This takes practice because as soon as we close our eyes, we go into multitasking. Okay, I have a break. What's in the fridge? What do I need to buy? So this is the guidance from the angels to practice looking around behind your eyelids like a room that's lost power. Because if a room has lost power, well, you're navigating. I don't want to stub my toe. I don't want to bump my knee. So you really are conscious. Look around, look up, down, to side. And as you look around and you're kind of listening to the white noise and you're staying focused, this allows you to look at what's going on in that live quantum space. So you might see stars, you might see faces. You are going to look to see who's there. And then just focus on your breath. If you lose your train of thought, just bring it back to what you're watching. Edgar Casey When he was getting ready to channel, he would always look for a white light. That was his signal. And I believe he was in the quantum. And sometimes when I go in the quantum, I will see a white light, looks like it's about a football field away. And sometimes I'll feel Edgar Casey tapped me on the shoulder. I said, "There's the light. Okay, you're ready." And then it'll open up. Now, that's just my experience. Everybody's is different. But boy, in that quantum space, I've been able to go in wormholes. And the house I live in now, I was actually able to see it before we bought it.
Wow.
And then when we walked in, I thought, well, this is obviously the place. And
Yeah.
had someone else's furniture in it, but I knew the layout, saw the number on the front. So yeah, you can access obviously the future. So I would say that's really fun and interactive. And if people are worried about, when I close my eyes, I can't see anything, I don't imagine things, in a guided meditation, this is different. Your brain isn't creating anything, you're waiting. You're just watching the blank space and you're waiting for things to drop in. This is like people watching at the airport or at the mall.
I love that. I have experience with this too. And one of the things, like, I completely agree with what you're saying. What I love is you talking about it like, or the angels talking about it as though you're in the dark and the
Mhm.
power's out, because that also talks about structure. And that's one of the things that I experience is it's not really like when I close my eyes, it's totally black. It's staticky. Like for me, it's staticky. And what will happen is as I am patient and I stay with it rather than letting my thoughts go like you were talking about, structure comes in and the static starts to organize. And there are so many levels and layers to it that there is a focusing element, almost similar to how you focus your eyes, but it's just focusing your consciousness. And there are so many layers. So like you're saying, you may see a face, you may see a series of faces pop up. For me, a lot of times it looks like like what you would see on a television screen, and it's
Yeah.
just like one face after another. And a lot of times masked old male faces. I don't know why.
Uh-huh.
But then it's like through focusing and kind of like, oh, let me look a little bit deeper or let me look a little closer, it can change entirely. I mean, it can be it can be a star, like I could be in space, and it can
Mhm.
be like, oh, I see pinpoints of light the same way that I see space. And it's not that I've gone anywhere, but my focus, like the same way, like if the difference between looking at my computer screen right now and looking beyond, like looking up over and into, through a window where I'm looking out
Yes.
across a field, that my eyes are focusing in a different way. Your inner sight focuses in a different way too. And it can take you to a totally different structured,
Well said.
experience. So
Yeah, well said.
thank you. It's so fascinating. And I love when somebody like talks about how it is like for them, and then you can kind of feel that like, yes,
Yeah.
I know where you've been. I know what you're talking about, or at least my
Yeah.
version of it.
Yeah. I love those Me Too moments.
Yes. Well, Rachel, what a gift to spend this time with you. I know that people are going to want to know how they can go deeper into your work. Can you please share how they can connect with you?
Well, my website is my name, Rachel Corpus, Corpus, like Corpus Christi. So rachelcorpus.com. And I teach classes from time to time. I have a coaching, I don't want to say a coaching business. It's not really that, but it's more if you want to build your intuition. So that's the Mindset Luminary program. And also, if you want a session, it's all on there. So just reach out.
And what kind of sessions do you do?
Channeled sessions, so I can connect you with your angels, your people on the other side. We can get into your past lifetimes, your parallels. I always tell people you can kind of treat me like Google for the spiritual world, because really, as an angel, I have access to everything for you, for the soul that I'm talking to. And we can't look at everybody in your life, but we can look for you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Rachel. I've loved this discussion.
I have too. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Soul Elevation. Please take a moment to think about someone in your life who might be uplifted or have their curiosity sparked, and please send it to them. Let's keep sharing high vibrational, empowering content to reinforce the highest potential for humanity. I also invite you to subscribe to this content. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you for the next episode of Soul Elevation.